Prologue. Everyone held their breath, to seal the flood of terror rising in their throats. Nina did the same. Sitting at the back of the bus, she looked out of the window, peering past the short, fat businessman sitting before her with his head tucked beneath a pair of trembling arms. On the other side of the dirt-smeared window was a vast wilderness. Cracks crept across the parched ground. Jagged shards of earth rose towards the sky. A tall, dark mountain loomed before Nina. "But everyone on the bus knew it wasn't a mountain," murmured a man sitting in the middle of the bus. He observed the dark shape through a pair of binoculars. Nina could see big drops of sweat on his face, his large Adam's apple bobbing as he gulped nervously. Nina squinted at the dark shape. It wasn't a mountain, it was a city. What looked like a mountain peak was in fact the top of a tower. Atop that tower was a tattered flag, fluttering in the wind. Nina couldn't make out the crest on the flag that carried the city's name. She couldn't confirm if the city's name was indeed what the man had uttered. Startled and surprised, the passengers bent over in their seats and held their heads down. They curled up, instinctively trying to hide. Instead of covering her head like everyone else, Nina held her breath and continued to stare at the city, trying to see any kind of reaction from it. The city was already dead. The bus squatted on its legs, immobile. The buildings in the city were also dead. Terrible wounds were carved into most of the buildings near the city's edge. Nina could see that a part of the city's rim had been gouged away, creating a mountain of debris. Columns of smoke rose everywhere. The attack must have happened recently. It would be impossible to find any survivors just by looking at the city from the bus, nor could Nina get to it to see if anyone was still alive. The bus was weak and insignificant outside the city. Nina knew that probably there weren't any survivors. Humans couldn't breathe without the air shield around the city, and this city had lost its shield.
"Nina, don't worry. We haven't been discovered." Nina realized her voice was trembling. She felt compelled to lick her lips, but she suppressed that desire and gazed resolutely at the attackers hovering in the sky above the city. Even though her mouth was dry, cold sweat broke out on her skin. "This is the world we live in, Harley,"
she said to her childhood friend. But she did not get a response from him. The effortless movements of the cruel attackers above the city made them look regal. The attackers, they were called the kings of nature, filth monsters. They flew lower, flying slowly between buildings. Someone roared shrilly. The driver started the engine. The legs of the bus rose, raising the body upward. Nina's line of sight rose with it. The bus began to hop, moving away from the stricken city. It was better to leave this place. The bus continued to run. Nina looked back at the shrinking city.
"It's safe now."
As the tension in the bus eased, Nina clenched her fists tightly and said,
"We're so weak."
The sound of huge feet trampling the ground at the edge of the city rang in the ears of people. The footsteps of the city drowned out all other sounds, even the furious roar of the wind.
"Are you still not giving up?"
It came from a voice loud enough to be heard over this din. A girl spoke to a boy in the city's roaming bus station. Strong winds shook her golden hair. Her clear blue pupils looked directly at the boy. Her youthful face, which made her look younger than she really was full of disapproval and unease. She gazed at the boy standing at the bus stop. Looking troubled, the boy kept glancing back and forth between the girl and the bus waiting to depart. A chain held up the long multi-legs of the bus that were folded and bent. The body of the bus swayed along with the movement of the city, bumping against a cushion pad. Since it was dangerous when the city moved, the driver and all the passengers were staying in the small waiting area. This kind of bus was built to withstand up and down shaking, but it couldn't stop from swaying sideways.
"Layfon!"
The only passenger not yet in the waiting area, Layfon, looked away from the bus. He had tea-colored hair and blue eyes. His face showed an expression that came from the loss of adolescence. This look was now coupled with a powerless smile.
"Even so, I can't stay here anymore, Liren."
Layfon didn't raise his voice, so Liren stepped closer. Even with her expressive eyes right in front of him, Layfon didn't feel attracted to his childhood friend.
"But you didn't have to pick a school that was so far away."
Even here, again, the sound of the city's movement drowned him out. A strong gust of wind blew past them. Layfon reached out and placed a hand on Liren's shoulder to steady her.
"It can't be helped. The only place that gave me a scholarship was Zuellni. The orphanage's money can't be spent on me, right?"
"You must have forced yourself to choose such a distant place. There are closer places you could have gone to. If you took the scholarship qualification exam next year, you could find a school that's closer, right? Then you could stay here with me."
It didn't matter what words came next. Nothing could change Layfon's mind. To emphasize that point, he shook his head slowly.
"I can't give up on leaving."
Liren held her breath. He couldn't bear looking at the pain in her clear eyes, so he looked at his hand on her shoulder. His hand was like that of an old man, hard and rough.
I've made my decision and I won't change my mind. Nobody wanted it to be like this, not even me, but Her Majesty wants me to experience the outside world. Besides, she doesn't wish for my presence here.
I wish for it.
This time, Liren's powerful and persuasive words caused Layfon to hold his breath.
Is it not enough that it's my wish?
To Layfon, Liren's crying gaze and words were too cunning. He tried to find some words to pass it over, but couldn't find any. He felt pain pressuring him to convey his feelings. Layfon's lips trembled, as did Liren's. They were each trying to find the right words to say. In the end, they realized that the right words to say didn't exist. No matter who wanted Layfon to stay, nothing could change the fact that he was leaving. And if he tried to make Liren agree with him, there was no doubt she would be hurt. As if it was trying to tear the two apart, the simple sound of the whistle squeezed between the noise of the city's footsteps and the furious howl of the wind echoing through the bus station. It was a warning that the bus was about to depart. The driver, having blown the whistle, entered the bus. He started the engine. A vibration, different from the city's, radiated out from the battered body of the bus. The passengers in the waiting area took their luggage and headed for the vehicle. Layfon's lips stopped trembling. He took away his hand from Liren to pick up the suitcase beside his feet. That was all he had with him now. His other belongings would be given to the kids at the orphanage or tossed away.
I have to go,
he said to the teary-eyed Liren. As if feeling that this was a truth she couldn't change, Liren's trembling also stopped. She gazed at him with reddened eyes.
Since the decision has been made, I want to start anew. I can't return to the orphanage or to Her Majesty's side. It's the price I must pay for my actions. I'll make up for them any way I can, but nobody wants that. They just want me to disappear. Even so, things can't be resolved with just my going away. Even so, I haven't really made up my mind,
he added weakly.
Though I really want to start over in many areas.
Enough!
Liren cut him off coldly. Layfon held his luggage tightly, not daring to look at her. The driver blew his whistle again. The bus would be leaving soon.
I'm going now.
Dejected, he turned his back to Liren.
Wait.
The small voice stopped him. What happened next was a single, brief moment. Liren grabbed a hold of Layfon's shoulder and forced him to turn around. Her face was so very close to his. It was only for a moment that they overlapped. The rough but soft pressure overwhelmed Layfon. In that swift moment, while he was numb and spaced out, Liren jumped away. Her smile was stiff, but that meaningful look of having played a prank was familiar to him.
You have to send letters, though. I don't think everyone wants you gone,
she said before running away. Looking at her figure flying past in a flurry of skirts, Layfon realized why he felt so strange. Ah, I see. Because she's wearing a skirt. The lively Liren didn't like to wear skirts, but she was wearing one today, and there was also the sweet and soft feeling left on his lips by that swift moment. As if to feel the warmth left on them, he touched a finger to his lips. So naive. While mocking himself, he hurried to the bus. I'll write when I get there. Yes, he had decided. The bus started moving. Wishing to take one last look at the scene, Layfon sat in the last row, gazing at the city he had spent his entire life in till now. Regios could be seen in every corner of the world. The existence of these cities was as natural as breathing air. Numerous buildings were built on a flat, circular surface, growing shorter as they ranged out from the center of the city where the tallest buildings were located. Located beneath the table were legs, huge metallic legs clustered together. With precise movements, those legs walked together, as if to take the city far away from the roaming bus. Layfon gazed at the center of the city where the city's tallest tower stood. The huge flag atop that building billowed. On its field was a dragon with the body of a lion that seemed to be breaking a sword with its teeth, but the sword was unyielding. The flag with that crest weaved into it danced a wild dance in the wind. Layfon stared at that huge flag, wondering what the first line of his letter to Liren would be about. Chapter 1. School begins.
It's been a month since we parted ways, and I've finally reached Zuellni. I got here just in time for the opening ceremony.
There were 5 bus changes before I got here. Living in a single city back then, I never realized how hard traveling could be. Getting to another city isn't easy, since all cities move according to their own desires. I never understood why the ancient alchemists made the cities self-aware, but now I see that it was done so they could avoid filth monsters and protect us. I understand that now. During the trip, some filth monsters passed by my bus. Their cruel and dangerous appearance was horrifying. The thought of being attacked on a bus with no way to escape was enough to make all my hair stand on end. But don't worry, our bus didn't get attacked. I think our driver was quite the professional. He stopped the bus for 3 days to avoid discovery. At that time, my heart ached. It's scary enough to be attacked by the filth monsters. Compared to that, though, it would have been worse if the bus was damaged and marooned on this dry and scarlet earth. That would have been a death sentence. Even so, in the end, I reached Zuellni safely.
I'm writing this letter in my dorm room. It's a double, but luckily I don't have a roommate. I've never had a room all to myself. I'm really happy about this. How are you doing over there?
I just realized that I still don't know your address. I'll send the letter to your school. I hope it gets to your hands safely. It'd be great if you could include your new address in your response. After all, the head wouldn't want to see my letters going to the orphanage now. Well, I wish eternal peace for your new life in the city you're standing on.
To my dear Leary Marfus, Layfon Alseif.
The mobile cities, Regios, are spread across the world in their myriad forms, from the basic, standard form that provides everything necessary for human survival, to forms that specialize in specific areas. One of those forms is the Academy City, Zuellni. Academy City, Zuellni. The school buildings in the center of the city provided facilities for all study areas. Large groups of students were heading for the Great Hall, which was large enough to accommodate all the students inside. Dressed casually, general study students walked as they chatted with friends. Uneasy smiles sat on the faces of agricultural and mechanical engineering students, who weren't used to the uniforms they hadn't put on in a long time. The alchemy and medical students wore dirty white coats on top of their uniforms. The military arts students, unlike the others, marched towards the hall with heads held high. Students with different characteristics were all swallowed into the hall. The purpose of this autonomous city was to exist for and be used by its students. Today, it was holding an entrance ceremony to welcome its new first years. But it looked like the ceremony would be delayed. An hour later, Layfon stood with a confused expression on his face.
Yes.
Having given a tense answer, he still couldn't sit on the sofa as requested. The student before him sat at a large business desk. Unlike Layfon, he had an air of maturity about him. Silvery white hair framed an elegant face bearing a gentle expression, but his calm silver eyes seemed to be judging Layfon. That piercing gaze of his caused Layfon to dart his gaze around in panic. Through his shoes, he could feel the softness of the carpet beneath him. The sofa and table used for meetings sat before him. Bookshelves lined one of the walls, filled with informative scrolls. Before Layfon entered this room, he had seen a plaque with the words Student President carved into it next to the doors.
I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Carrion Loss, a 6th-year student.
Students were enrolled for 6 years in Zuellni, so Loss was in the highest grade, and he was also the student president, the person in charge of this school.
I'm Layfon Alseif.
With a straight back, Layfon clearly delivered his name. He felt cold sweat beating on his forehead. Carrion smiled. They were alone in the room.
I wasn't planning on punishing you.
The voice, tinged with a bitter smile, helped Layfon to calm down. He'd been tense the whole time, as he had no idea why he had been summoned to this room.
First, let me convey my gratitude. Because of your help, none of the new students were injured.
The opening ceremony was canceled because of a commotion. 2 military arts students coming from enemy cities had met by chance before the ceremony, resulting in the commotion. They went from staring to quarreling and eventually to fighting. Military arts, different special powers that were born to protect humanity from harm on this polluted earth. The military arts is the field meant to foster such special power users. If people fought each other seriously using such powers, if worse came to worst, even normal students could have suffered injuries or been killed. In Carrion's eyes was genuine gratitude.
The new rule that only allows new students to be armed after half a year is because some of them don't understand where they now are. This is unbearable. It's a huge amount of work for me to settle things every year.
But there were still people who used weapons. Sometimes a fight could turn into a battle that would draw blood.
Speaking of which, a general studies student who managed to outdo military arts students, you must have some skills in the arts area, don't you?
It's just a hobby. Silence from the student president made Layfon swallow.
If yours is just the level of a hobbyist, then we ought to increase our admission standards for the military arts course.
The news about the fight between military arts students at the opening ceremony had spread to new students in other courses. New students arriving at Zuellni came from diverse backgrounds. The dangerous atmosphere spreading out from the Military Arts Center was influencing students from other courses. The rioting atmosphere also affected the general studies area. Students closer to the fight scene bumped and crashed into each other while escaping, igniting the adolescent anger sleeping in male students. Immediate silence followed, and all eyes turned to the source of that noise. where the two students who started the commotion lay immobile on the floor, with Layfon standing between them.
That was just luck. They were blinded by anger and didn't even notice me.
Yes, yes.
Carrion happily nodded at Layfon's excuse. He was smiling with his face, but not his eyes. Again, Layfon felt that the student president had seen through him. Honestly, this wasn't a comfortable feeling. While bearing the pressure that he felt would force him into some dangerous place, Layfon attempted to end this conversation.
Since I haven't done anything wrong, I'm returning to class.
You can't.
Carrion prevented Layfon from turning his back to him. The short denial halted Layfon's footsteps.
As I said, I've no intention of punishing you, Layfon Alseif.
The title in between name and surname caused Layfon to raise his eyebrows.
What does that mean?
I don't care if you continue to play the fool. Here's a suggestion. Layfon Alseif, how about changing from general studies to the military arts?
What?
Luckily, there are now 2 empty slots in military arts thanks to those 2 troublemakers. We have a rule here preventing students from bringing the issues of their home cities into the academy. Those who signed the contract and broke it during the opening ceremony don't have the right to be fighters. The blame for the riot lies on them, so I've already banished them in the form of their voluntary withdrawal from the course.
No, please wait.
The two students were not important to Layfon.
I don't plan to change majors.
He clearly conveyed his opinion. To switch to the military arts, don't kid with him.
I came here to study general studies.
Military arts is a study area too. No matter what course you're in, general studies is compulsory till 3rd year. Even if you pick general studies, you still have to specialize in something after 3 years, so you aren't learning different things by switching.
The problem doesn't lie there.
So what is the problem?
Faced with that question, he found his breath being caught in his throat.
I have no interest in military arts.
I see.
Carrion gave an exaggerated nod. It was clearly an act. The expression in his eyes hardly changed, just a twisted curve of happiness.
Besides, I'm on a scholarship. I've already applied for a job and studies. I've got to work in my spare time. I won't have enough energy left for military arts.
I see. That's a good argument.
Carrion was only agreeing with his mouth. He didn't look persuaded at all. He took out a document from a drawer.
Layfon Alseif? D-rank scholarship, part-time work and studies. Your job is to clean the central mechanism chamber. I see, this is a taxing and time-consuming job. Do you know that the cleaning takes place while the city rests from after sunset to past midnight? A lot of working students hate cleaning there. It's hard work and the hours are terrible. Do you get it? The pay isn't too bad, but the work is toilsome. Every year, numerous students apply to work somewhere else or leave the academy for not passing the scholarship assessment, and the scholarship you have is D rank. Have you ever considered that you'll be spending all of your pay on school fees?
Yes, it's just as you said.
Frankly, won't it be hard to pass 6 years like that?
I'm confident in my physical strength.
Carrion's smile changed. Carrion was full of smiles in Layfon's eyes, and something that felt like a favorable feeling towards Layfon came through.
Perhaps you're right. You should have confidence in your physical strength. That's exactly why I wish you would change to military arts.
What for?
Do you know of the military arts competition between Academy cities?
Nope.
To put this simply, the competition takes place once every 2 years.
Layfon could guess what Carrion was getting at.
This is a habit of cities. I have no idea what the alchemists were thinking, but cities fight for territory every 2 years. What's more interesting is that they only compete with the same type of cities. I could only say that the cities were made too well.
Although the cities were fighting for territories, it was actually the people living in the cities who carried out the fights.
Sure, it's called the Military Arts Competition, but in reality, the competition is the same as the wars that took place between normal cities.
War. Layfon's expression turned grim.
Of course, our goal is to conduct a student-like all-encompassing fight. The Alliance of Academy Cities supervises every fight. Non-lethal weapons are used. Swords are sheathed. Anesthetic bullets are used. But since it's a war, there's not much difference between what the winner obtains and what the loser loses. It's not as tragic as a real war, but the ending is the same.
Is it the city's life?
Carrion nodded. Cities have awareness. They're alive. They need food to keep on surviving. Even though they are machines, they need energy to maintain their functions. The source of a city's life is their food, a type of metal called selenium.
Selenium is a metal born after the Earth became polluted, and so it's easy to obtain. To put it simply, you can probably find it by digging at the earth over there. But that's a dangerous action with filth monsters around. Besides, we can only obtain pure selenium from mines with a certain level of energy.
So, the winner took possession of the mine and the loser lost it. While increasing the prosperity of their own piece of land, people were reducing the lifespan of another piece of land.
When I first entered the academy, Zuellni had 3 mines. Now it's down to 1.
Meaning Zuellni had lost in the last 2 competitions and its military arts level was much lower than the neighboring cities.
It's doubtful on how much pure selenium we can mine from that remaining mine. I plan to send some alchemists over to investigate the next time our city nears it.
In other words, if we lose the next time, there's no backup plan?
The cities determine the topic of the upcoming competition. We can't not participate.
If we lose, just the thought made Layfon shiver. Even if a city lost all of its mines, its functions wouldn't immediately stop because it had an emergency reserve of selenium. But that could only delay the inevitable for a short time. The city would die. Humans would have lost space to live. Once a city dies, it returns back to the earth. People can't salvage it. To have a city die of starvation was the same as its people dying of famine. Thinking of that, a sudden shiver shook Layfon's cold body. The city he had just arrived in would die. He didn't have much of a link with this academy, but the possibility of the city dying was terrifying. When a person was young, if he found out that the city he lived in could die, he'd have been scared enough to tremble all over. That experience would be the same for everyone. Hearing that the fear he felt in his childhood could become reality, Layfon felt like his childhood self, trembling all over. But even so, to fight, I can't do that. Yes, let's say that. With determination, he lifted his gaze, preparing to refuse the student president watching him from the desk. But the words wouldn't come. The student president watched Layfon. The smile on Loss's face had disappeared. The emotionless expression appeared to be too calm. This contrasted with his icy gaze that was pinning Layfon.
To the breathless Layfon, Carrion spoke, I'm graduating this year. As long as this remains an Academy City, no one can stay here after graduating. This means once I graduate, I'm not linked to this place anymore. But I really like the Academy. Don't you think it's sad to lose your favorite thing, even though you can never set foot on this piece of earth? It's natural to want to protect what is precious. For one who goes mad over love, don't you feel that it's their fate to reach their goal using whatever means possible?
A light smile appeared on the countenance of the student president. Just that. It was his way of joking in a solemn situation.
Your scholarship will be raised to rank A. All your fees will be waived. You will only need to earn for your living. If you aren't keen on fashion, you won't need to spend much, so you won't have to force yourself to clean at the central mechanism chamber. Is that all right?
Rationality told him not to nod, but his instinct howled for him to nod. And then, Layfon left the room with swaying steps, holding a military arts uniform that had somehow been placed into his hands.
A few minutes after Weekly closing his door, there came impatient knocking on his door.
Come in.
It was a girl in military arts uniform. A girl with short, golden hair. A girl with determination and resolution.
Sorry for intruding.
A pair of sharp eyes rested beneath neat and thick eyebrows. Those eyes watched the student president with challenge. The sound of the harness clasped around her waist accompanied her every step. What was inside the harness was not a sword, but 2 rod-like things. The threads on the harness indicated she was a third-year student. The girl stood straight before the desk and her gaze met the student president's.
Yes, I'm looking for you.
Carrion smiled.
What is it about?
Have you found enough members?
The sudden question caused Nina to furrow, but she checked her attitude and replied,
Not yet.
Yes, I thought so too. You haven't yet sent me the report on your team members since the day you took the application form. The opening ceremony ended. If you don't hurry up and produce your team member list, you won't be able to participate in the next city competition. In that case, you'll become the lowest level soldier in the next round of platoon competitions.
Excuse me, student president. Hasn't the opening ceremony been delayed?
It's been canceled thanks to other schedules. It's a shame. I won't call everyone to the hall again. Because of this year's military arts competition, there are lots of things to do.
Nina's face fell. She kept silent.
I think it's enough to observe the new students at the opening ceremony. What do you think?
No one is suitable. Everyone was affected too much by the atmosphere. You can't tell what happened in a battle. I want someone who can observe calmly without getting caught in the confusion.
Nina had been watching the entire commotion today. Every new military arts student was affected by the two who started the whole thing. Violent expressions on their faces said they wanted to join in and make the mess even bigger. To get caught up by the enemies like that was the same as digging their own graves.
Is there really no one suitable?
Nina didn't reply immediately. Her confused gaze moved up and down.
No.
In her hesitation, folded up the image of the new student, the one who suppressed the two troublemakers without anyone knowing. He suppressed the center of the commotion to prevent the violent emotions from spreading and, at the same time, he exaggerated his act to threaten people who were caught up in the commotion. She found his response very certain, but
He's in general studies.
that new student wore the uniform of General Studies. This way, he couldn't participate in the competition. But the student president smiled happily.
Yes, that was true. Until now.
What does that mean?
He's just transferred into military arts.
A disapproving expression appeared on Nina's face.
I can't waste such good material.
So you ignored his wish?
I didn't ignore it. I showed him the highest level of sincerity. He should be quite satisfied with it.
Really?
Nina understood how hard the student president's attitude could be. Last time during the student president election, Carrion wasn't nominated. Yet at the time when he gloriously became a candidate, he had waged a rare intelligence fight with his opponents, causing them to all lose.
It doesn't matter what the truth is. What do you think now that he's in military arts? That's the only answer I want to know. What is it to be? At this rate, you won't have enough members. Do you plan to experience the same shame as before, but now as a low-ranked soldier?
Nina clenched her teeth together.
I have no such intention.
Then what should you do? I think the answer is clear.
Carrion slid a document on the desk to Nina. It was a resume with the name Layfon Alseif written on it. The document was clearly in the structure of a resume, along with a close-up photo of Layfon.
Please excuse me.
Having taken a glimpse of the document, Nina turned her back to Carrion and left the room. He smiled at the back of the girl, who didn't give him a reply.
If things go well, this will become the strongest team. The problem is how to operate it.
He murmured. He didn't look cheerful at all.
On the way back to his classroom, Layfon changed into the new uniform in a health clinic he found. The student president threatened him that if he continued to walk about not in uniform, he'd be considered to be committing a fraud. Holding the uniform of General Studies, he entered the classroom to collect his bag. From a uniform he hadn't gotten used to yet, to another unfamiliar uniform. He wasn't yet familiar with this uniform, but it gave him an intriguing feeling. Also, the new uniform fit him perfectly.
Damn, this must have been planned.
Walking in the corridor, Layfon couldn't help but curse out loud. His height and weight were standard for a male of his age, but his right arm was slightly longer than his left. His General Studies uniform had been fixed to cater for that difference. But how could the military arts uniform, given to him on a spur-of-the-moment decision, be such a perfect fit? Meaning, the truth couldn't be changed.
Why, how did they find out?
Anxiety filled him. He came here to major in general studies, to seek a world that had nothing to do with military arts. But on the first day of his arrival, he had once again stepped into that world he wanted to leave behind.
Why didn't I refuse him? I'm such a coward. A coward!
Only the opening ceremony was taking place today, so nobody was in the corridor.
How should I have put it? That student president's too scary. What kind of gaze was that? It really terrifies me. How could I have resisted that type of person?
Having let it all out, Layfon arrived at his classroom. Meaning his classroom would be different now. But the student president didn't mention that at all? What should he do? Layfon opened the door. The door opened, and the scene inside the room entered Layfon's sight. That sound came through. There were still students in the classroom.
Look, he really is in military arts. Yeah, tilde, it's my win. I'm lucky.
One of the girls jumped up in excitement. Chestnut-colored hair tied into two tails on each side of her head shook with her movement. Only 3 girls were in the room. Their curious gazes were glued closely to Layfon without reserve. Layfon halted his steps.
Why? Wasn't he wearing the General Studies uniform?
Said a red-haired girl. She wore the same uniform as Layfon's. And like Layfon, the empty harness swayed around her waist.
I don't have a General Studies uniform. Hey, just why do you have one?
Something happened.
So, do you mean I don't get that uniform 'cause I'm not cute? Is that it?
Even if you asked me that, I can't do anything about it. As for the girl, she was more handsome than cute. Compared to the General Studies uniform designed for cuteness, Layfon thought the sharp edges of the military arts uniform suited her better. But the girl was dissatisfied.
Wait a moment, Naki, calm down.
The girl with two tails concluded. The red-haired girl paused, as if she had thought of something. Then she moved aside for the other girl.
That's right. Hurry up, Mation.
With one hand on the back of the third girl, the red-haired girl moved her to stand in front of Layfon. The third girl had long hair streaming past her shoulders. She looked shy and gentle, her face facing the ground. She seemed afraid. Her eyebrows curved as if she was about to cry. Her face was faintly red.
Thank you very much.
Just saying that seemed to take all of her energy. The black-haired girl hid behind the red-haired girl, her face reddened.
Sorry. She's always been this shy. Even so, she still wants to thank you for saving her at the opening ceremony, right?
The black-haired girl buried her face into the back of the red-haired girl. Layfon had no recollection of that ever happening. He only recalled pushing away those people about to get caught in the fight. He might have saved her during that time. The red-haired girl sighed.
This child? Yes, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Naruki Gelni in the military arts.
I'm Miffy Rotten. The one playing hide and seek is Mei Shen Trindon. We're both in general studies. The three of us came from the Transit City Joldom. Do you know of it?
Yes, it's the center where roaming buses gather. I passed through on the way here. I'm Layfon Alseif, from the Lance-Shelled City, Grendon.
Oh, that was where military arts was born. No wonder you're so strong.
No, that's not it.
Layfon replied vaguely, just when he thought of how to explain it.
Again? Do you have to make a map of this area too? Of course. Maps for food, fashion, territory, so long as it can be drawn. I'll do it. Since I'll be here for 6 years, I don't want to lose out by not having a map. It's my hobby to gather if you want to know something, just ask me. Even if I don't know, I'll investigate it and find out.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Besides, I have things to ask you, like about the thing you're holding.
With a pair of sharp eyes, Naruki looked at the general studies uniform that Layfon was holding. He didn't even get a chance to speak. They decided it for him then.
Well, look. This is troubling information.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, that's decided.
And it was decided. The location was then changed to a coffee shop close by. The coffee shop was made of red bricks and designed not to stand out too much. Since it was already past lunchtime, the shop was nearly empty. The four of them somehow managed to catch up to lunchtime special. While eating, Layfon explained why he was transferred to the military arts. He didn't mention that he was forced to transfer. They were eating dessert. Only Layfon wasn't eating, instead drinking juice.
Oh, I was worried that Academy City only had healthy food for students.
Miffy said with satisfaction, her mouth filled with cake.
This really is worth drawing a map for.
And I was wondering what a city operated by students was like.
In reality, many shops lined the roads heading from the dormitories to the school, but because it was an academy city, most of the shops were closed during class hours. Once classes finished, the shops were full of people. These shops were managed by senior general studies students who studied commerce or management. Other students came here to work as employees. The food was made by seniors in gastronomy.
There's a police department and a court here, too. I'll try applying to the police.
Naki's dream is to be a policewoman.
Yes.
As for me, the newspaper, since it's related to publishing, I'll try to find somewhere that publishes news. What about Meichi?
Somewhere that makes dessert.
Then you'll have to find somewhere with delicious food, eating while you walk. Watch out so you don't get fat.
You're pretty red right now, aren't you?
Erg, what was that? It's because Naki's all sweaty from exercising.
Shh. That's the smell of youth.
I don't get you.
The conversation expanded, and Layfon watched it all with a distant feeling. Those three were from the same city. From their conversation, it seemed they already knew each other before coming here. Shut outside the intimate conversation, Layfon sipped his juice.
That's right. Where'll you be working, Layton?
Layton? Startled at the unexpected name change, Layfon opened his lips with juice still inside his mouth. He almost spilled it all.
Yeah, Layton. That's easier to say, isn't it? Naki, Meichi, Layton, and Aimi-chan. Is that okay?
You didn't give the names any good thought. More importantly, let my nickname be my normal name.
It's boring to think up a nickname for yourself. If I said, just call me Meichi, doesn't that sound revolting?
Revolting. At least I wouldn't want to be friends with that person.
Exactly. Then that's okay, so Layfon is called Layton now.
That can't be helped. Then we're counting on you from now on, Layton.
Yeah, Layton. Layton Tilda.
Layton.
Even Mason was calling him by that name. For some reason, Layfon felt like he had come from a really faraway place. Where was this place? Just in which dimension was he lost in? Till now, none of his female friends had ever called him like that. Even his closest friend Liren would only call him by his first name. For his nickname, she just called him Lay. Layfon was dumbfounded.
So where will you be working at, Layton?
He could only answer the question, since he knew it wasn't possible to resolve the name issue. At this moment, no words came to him. Speaking of which, somebody just said Layfon's scholarship had been upgraded, so it didn't matter if he worked or not.
Don't tell me it's alright if you don't work.
No, I've still got to work. I'll be working in the mechanical department.
All three girls burst out with wow and frowned.
Why such a hard-working job?
I heard you need lots of strength for military arts. That kind of lifestyle will damage your body. Are you sure about this?
Won't that be very tiring?
All three girls expressed their worries. Layfon could only smile bitterly. Even he knew it'd be hard work, but it was dangerous to rely fully on the student president. If something happened and he had to oppose the student president, his scholarship might be canceled. It'd be the worst-case scenario to be left without money, unable to continue his studies. The scholarship might be left without money, unable to continue his studies.
Yeah, but that can't be helped. I'm an orphan. I don't have anything else besides a scholarship.
He thought the way he put it was natural and inconspicuous, but the word orphan caused the three girls to widen their eyes. Embarrassed, their uneasy gazes darted around.
Tilda, Ticey. Sorry. Do your best.
Yeah, if it's anything I can do, I'll help out. Me too.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Their attitude made him feel troubled.
I don't find it particularly difficult. I feel troubled when I'm pitied.
Even so, Mifi and Mei Shen exchanged a glance, their faces full of anxiety. From his previous experiences, Layfon knew it wasn't possible to make them understand it right away, so he wasn't bothered by their reaction.
Okay, I get it. I won't worry about it.
Naruki nodded immediately. Her quick response was a surprise to him.
What? Did you say you wouldn't worry too much about it?
Yeah, that's right.
What?
Nothing. It's just that you act like a big sister.
What did you say?
Naruki frowned, but Mifi agreed.
I understand. I understand Naki's got that feel about her. She's cool.
And she's popular with lots of girls.
Yep, she always receives lots.
Well, I'm troubled by that. I've never known what to do with them.
Although she said so seriously, Layfon laughed again. The atmosphere feels good. Layfon thought as he laughed. Although what he experienced at the opening ceremony was a setback for him, from his conversation with the girls, it felt as if he was now back on track.
Excuse me.
A voice broke through the laughter. As their eyes found the owner of the voice, everyone couldn't help but held their breath. Standing beside the table was a girl. The silvery hair hanging down to her waist shone as if to reflect the light of the coffee shop. She had snowy white skin and a heart-shaped lower jaw. Peeking from inside her collar was a delicately small neck and a kind of a dangerous charm. Long eyebrows trembled above a slightly lowered, silver-eyed gaze. A girl who was as beautiful and delicate as a doll. No one noticed she was wearing the uniform of military arts. The first to finally notice was Naruki.
Aren't you a grade older than us? Do you want something?
Layfon realized the color of the threads on her harness was different from his own. From the harness hung a long, thin, rod-like thing.
Are you Layfon Alseif?
Silvery eyes caught Layfon's image. Yes.
I've something to tell you. Could you come with me?
Okay.
Layfon stood up naturally, compelled by that voice to obey. The girl turned her back to leave the coffee shop. Layfon would have followed behind just like that, but he returned to the seat. He took his bag and from his wallet, left some change on the table for his juice.
Sorry. I gotta go.
Sure, then go.
Naruki said on behalf of her two still silent companions.
Yeah, but just what?
Wordlessly, Layfon rushed after the silvery girl. The bell tied to the coffee shop door swung out crisp notes as Layfon passed. Thinking back on how confused Layfon appeared to be, Naruki smiled bitterly.
What just happened?
Of course he's been targeted after that elegant performance at the opening ceremony.
Miffy didn't understand what Naruki had just said. She looked at her friend with questions on her face.
Isn't there a different badge on that senpai's chest pocket?
Yeah, really?
Miffy frowned.
It's a silvery round thing?
Yes.
Mei Shen had seen it.
There's the number 17 on it.
A badge that only people belonging to a platoon would have.
A platoon? What is that?
To put it simply, they're the official candidates in the military arts course. It carries the additional meaning of a fighter with high level of skill.
Yes?
They're the core teams in the military arts competition. Underneath the general headquarters are the platoons. They're called commanding teams. Beneath them are the larger teams, and those take charge of people who don't belong to any teams, meaning normal military arts students like me.
Wow. If that's the case, then it's like climbing all the way up to the top.
But it's not that easy in there.
Why?
Didn't I mention it? That badge holds the meaning of a high-level fighter. Students belonging to a platoon must excel in a certain area, from commanding ability to the control of psychokinesis. Mostly they specialize in a certain weapon. Besides the individual skills that are judged, the strength of how well an entire team does is also assessed. Whether a person can work in a team is also evaluated. As such, there's competition going on between teams for the ranking list. In other words, it's a fight in between students at the academy. During those fights, if a team doesn't perform well, the worst situation is that it gets disbanded, official candidates turning back to normal students. Fighters normally have strong self-esteem. If one returns to being a normal student, other people would say he's fallen from the clouds to the bottom of a valley. No one can take that kind of a setback. His life in the academy would become too painful to bear.
Naruki glanced at the door that Layfon had just left through. No new customers had entered. The bell remained solemn.
Layton said he's going to clean in the mechanical department.
That will be tiring.
Yeah, it should be quite smooth for him.
Naruki could only give such an answer. She washed down the last piece of cake with red tea.
What Naruki said to the other two at the coffee shop also came to Layfon's ears, but from the terrifying girl with golden hair. The beautiful silver-haired girl took Layfon deep inside the first-year dormitories. It was a certain building with an old and worn-out feel about it. Layfon was taken to one of the rooms and was greeted by a terrifying girl with golden hair.
The room Layfon was in had been split into two by a huge wall, so the space was only twice as large as a normal classroom. On the wall were hung many different types of weapons. Including Layfon, there were 5 people in the room. The rest were 2 male students. The taller boy lay lazily in a corner. The other wore a dark green working suit that was stained with engine oil and some other type of machine-related liquid. Nina gave the confused Layfon an explanation about the platoon. Layfon half listened, with his mind somewhere else.
Do you understand?
Ah, yes. Turning his gaze back to Nina, Layfon gave her a quick answer without really meaning anything he had just said.
Then why was I called here? Layfon understood everyone here was an official candidate, but that was all he knew. Nina didn't explain why Layfon was here. Half of Nina's eyebrow trembled as if it had the cramps.
I understand from your explanation that everyone here is an elite. But if that's the case, because of that, I don't get why I, as a first-year student, was called here,
Layfon said, trying to mediate the atmosphere. Nina closed her open mouth, her shoulders moved as if she was breathing deeply. Then she opened her mouth again to speak.
The tall male student burst out laughing from his position.
Sharnid Senpai!
Nina said loudly, her shoulders trembling in anger.
Ha tilde hee. My stomach hurts. Nina, it's your fault. All because you beat around the bush and gave the new student there an opportunity to pretend he was a fool.
Nina clamped hard on her teeth.
Sharnid jumped up, watching Layfon in a flippant manner.
I'm Sharnid Lepton, the 4th year.
Ah, nice to meet you.
Well, let me explain clearly in place of our captain. Layfon Alseif, we asked you to come because we need the right number.
Huh?
Hey! Stop pretending! Everybody saw your performance at the opening ceremony.
The excuse of you being a new student and not having enough skill won't work. You've already proven your skill. We thought you were good, so we want you in our team. Sharnid gave Nina a meaningful glance. Nina cleared her throat and stood before Layfon again.
Layfon Alseif, I order you to become a member of Team 17. No refusal will be accepted. The student president has already given permission and formally proposed for your application. Either way, those who are in the military arts aren't allowed such a feeble action as refusing to enter a platoon.
What a resolute speech. Nina's unyielding attitude meant Layfon had no way to run.
We'll now conduct a test to see which position you're best suited for in the platoon.
Nina took out the 2 rods from her weapon harness. She pointed at Layfon with the rod held tightly in her right hand.
Choose whatever weapon you like.
Perturbed by the seriousness in Nina's eyes, Layfon turned to examine the weapons on the wall. The price of free school fees. What an A-grade scholarship.
Chapter 2. Life as a Student.
How are you? I'm quite good here.
How's life at the new school? Have you made friends? I'm experiencing new things every day. As long as there are new people around me, the levels of experiences are different and very surprising. I hold a curious and refreshing view of my new life. Everything's so new and different that sometimes I think back to the past. Recently, I remembered what it was like when I first started my training.
Perhaps it's too early to call that the past, but I can't change the things that have already happened. Maybe it's better to call them the past.
I've begun a new life here. Things didn't go well at first, but I think they'll become better.
I've made new friends here. A senior senpai really looks after me. How you over there? I shouldn't have to worry because it's you. You must have made more friends than me, since you're better at interacting with people. Oh yes, I'm now working while studying. I am a janitor in the central mechanism chamber. It's tiring, but it's surprisingly interesting. This was my first time seeing the real form of the city. I never thought it was like that. Perhaps Grendon's real form is like that too. Maybe Grendon's... It's quite fun to imagine what it's like. Reading up to here, you must be throwing a tantrum. But I'm not telling. Are you angry? If you want to know, wait till we meet again. May we meet somewhere other than Grendon. To my dear Lirin Marthas. Layfon chose a sword from the assorted weapons hanging on the wall. It was a sword with a long, wide blade.
I can't change the setting as it's a practice sword. Is that okay?
Layfon nodded.
But I feel that a sword doesn't suit your body build.
To the dissatisfaction uttered by the other boy, Layfon felt the grip of the sword and didn't pay much attention to what was said.
Harley, that guy said it's okay. You're such a nag. Sharnid stopped Harley with a flippant tone. Even so, Layfon could still hear Harley mumbling. Layfon swung the sword with one hand, his body moving slightly. Pulled by the point of the sword, he moved back and forth in the platoon's training room.
Have you had enough warm-up?
Nina asked as Layfon stopped his movements. Layfon nodded wordlessly.
Restoration!
The 2 rods in her hands transformed, becoming bigger and reflecting the light of the ceiling as if their black surface was absorbing the light of the room. The handles changed to fit Nina's hands. A number of ring-like things had expanded along the part of the weapon used for attack. Nina's wrists lowered naturally. It looked totally different from what it was before. It was a weapon called Iron Whips. The changes to the weapon came from the combination of the voice and the memories of the Dite. The alloy used in alchemy could restore even the original weight of the item.
I won't hold back.
Nina flicked the iron whip in her right hand, and the sound of air being torn apart rang out in the room. She pointed the whip at Layfon's forehead, feeling the non-existent pain on his forehead. Layfon nodded wordlessly. He readied his fighting stance. And what happened next was fast as lightning.
Nina rushed over, giving Layfon no time to calculate the distance between them. She attacked with her right iron whip.
Layfon turned aside to avoid the attack aimed at his chest, but Nina's left iron whip was already pounding down towards his exposed back. He raised his sword arm and turned his wrist, placing the blade against his back to counter Nina's whip. His wrist could have dislocated in between receiving the pressure of the attack and recovering, after having spent all the strength on countering the whip. Not with Layfon. He guided the heavy pressure down the wavering blade, relaxing his grip on the handle and letting the flat side of the blade hit his own back. At the same time, he used that momentum to turn around and escape through the opening between the 2 whips. Layfon opened up the distance between him and Nina and resumed his fighting stance.
This is my first time seeing someone stop Nina's first move.
To Layfon, Nina didn't care about Sharnid's comment. Her sharp gaze, so like that of a beast pinning its prey, never moved away from Layfon's body. This time, Nina cautiously weighed their distance.
Layfon's stance changed in response to Nina's, who was slowly changing her position. The hard build of the iron whip made it clear that it was an offensive weapon. For the sake of convenience, its length wasn't too long. One didn't have to worry about an iron whip being damaged in battle, unlike a sword. An iron whip could be swung at will and would not break. It could also receive a direct attack. Brendan's police force used the iron whip as a standard weapon because of its convenience. However, normal police were only equipped with light iron whips. Layfon's sword arm was slightly numb. After receiving the attack, he could tell that this pair of iron whips was as heavy as it looked. She could use the iron whips however she liked. Her strength and her familiarity with her weapons made Layfon speechless. The two of them circled each other. Tension built up in the room. The air felt thick, and on Layfon's forehead were beads of sweat. Again, Nina was the one to close the gap. She rushed over as Layfon's foot left the floor, moving in reaction to her. Layfon tried to avoid the sudden and straightforward attack by pulling back and opening more distance between them, but she kept closing in. He had no choice but to use his sword. He dipped the sword point low to bring it up in an attack, but it was knocked aside by Nina's whip. In seconds, he flicked his wrist to adjust the track of his sword. Layfon's attack changed from low to high, chopping down towards Nina. She blocked it with her right iron whip and counterattacked from the left with her other iron whip. Layfon quickly stepped to her right and once again pulled open the distance between them. He wanted to keep fighting with more distance between them. But Nina seemed unsatisfied.
Can you use external type burst K?
Her unexpected question made Layfon lose the rhythm of the plan he already had in mind.
Can you use external type burst K?
He nodded.
Good.
She crossed the iron whips before her chest. A huge noise and vibration that could have toppled a giant ran through the floor.
Take this.
When he had collected himself, Nina's happy and cruel smile was right before him. In the next moment, Layfon had fainted.
Layfon lifted his sword. He slashed out with the blade without any sense of confusion, and his heart was calm and unruffled. But what about the thing that had been slashed? There was no questioning it. Of course it was a problem. So long as one lived, one would encounter all sorts of problems. How to solve a problem? In the end, living was in itself the cause of all problems. When one problem was solved, the next would surface. The end was never in sight. One continued to remove one's problems, only to have more closing in. The light filtering down from the ceiling bounded off the blade of the white alloy dite. Do you desire the heaven's blade? You can have it. Layfon mumbled the words in the arena that was so quiet that even a fallen needle could be heard. The blade fell from his hand. The irritating metallic sound of it hitting the ground echoed in the arena, and the lonely blade lay on the floor. The problem that's been cut away now lay beside the blade.
Layfon uttered an ah at the scene. It wasn't a sound of surprise and joy, but just a simple response at reality.
Numerous hands appeared to point at Layfon. The people surrounding him were faceless and formless. They were only there to repudiate him. This is unprecedented. Traitor, what a shameful guy. All kinds of denouncements were turned into those fingers pointing at Layfon. Layfon didn't care. He looked at them coldly. So what? Could they solve the problem like that? Did they want to write the wrong answer in the space reserved for the answer to the question?
He was only striding forward on the path to the right answer. Who'd know that the heaven's blade would fall onto the ground because of that?
His gaze put fear into the people pointing at him. Subconsciously, he looked at the solution which had rolled close to his feet. Beside the fallen blade was a body. A body that looked like Nina. No, it was Nina. The tracks of Layfon's sword were clearly carved into her body. She lay on the floor, shocked and speechless. Is this the answer? Somebody asked. It's a dream. One single phrase solved it all. The first feeling he had after waking up was extreme self-hatred.
Wow, that's impossible.
His body curled up, Layfon held his head, the metal frame of the bed squeaked. A cabinet filled with medicine leaned against the modest white wall. He smelled faint disinfectant and realized he was in the clinic. He wasn't surprised about it. In the second when he was about to faint, he knew Nina's attack would make him lose consciousness. Compared to this, that dream was even more serious.
I actually dreamt of revenge. That's not possible. I'm so disgusting. So disgusting.
He rolled back and forth on the bed and finally fell off it. He moaned as his side hit the floor. He lay on the cold floor and moaned, all the while murmuring, so disgusting, and allowing the temperature of the floor to cool down the heat in his face.
What are you doing?
I'm just shocked for being so useless.
Layfon stopped moaning at the sound above him, but he didn't get up. Wait a bit more. He couldn't stand up before his reddened face had completely cooled down.
If it's all right, I want you to stand up.
The voice was from the girl who came to the coffee shop and took him to the platoon.
If it's all right, give me more time.
Why?
Please say yes.
Must I?
Yes.
The girl seemed to understand more from his repeated request. Layfon didn't know what she had understood, but she didn't persist in questioning him, and she didn't force him to stand up. He could feel the tip of her toes beside his head, staying there, immobile. The two of them fell silent. 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 Silent.
I still don't know your name. Can you tell me your name?
Oh, yes. I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Felilos, second year in military arts.
Nasty. Massive memories surfaced in his mind.
Hello. I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
You're not wrong. Carrion Loss is my older brother.
Feli cut him off to confirm his unease. Layfon felt weak.
Is that so?
Yes.
She got ahead of him again.
Isn't it about time to get up?
Layfon picked himself up slowly from the floor. As expected from a clinic. The environment was clean and tidy. Even rolling on the floor didn't dirty his uniform. Layfon observed the girl's appearance and found her eyes a bit like Carrion's. They had a beautiful look about them. They must be related. A light sigh from Feli, then her rigid expression relaxed.
Sorry?
Not really. I didn't come at a good time.
It wasn't easy to forget that she'd seen him rolling and moaning on the floor. His face reddened again.
Do you hate my brother for forcing you to transfer into military arts?
Feli returned back to the previous topic, indifferent to Layfon's current expression.
I think it's a bit too extreme to describe it as hate.
He couldn't find any other word to say.
I hate my brother,
Feli said while Layfon was hesitating.
What?
He couldn't understand what she meant by that. She hates her own brother?
I didn't want to study military arts, but he forced me into it.
Why?
For victory,
Feli concluded without hesitating.
He'd do all he could to reach his goal, no matter the means. Our wills mean nothing to him.
No, but...
Feli watched Layfon while judging her own brother. No sadness and anger could be detected from her neutral expression. Even the smile she had before was gone. So Layfon couldn't sense any sort of reflections from her in her previous words. He was confounded.
He'd perform any foul acts in order to win. It's ridiculous that we have to work for such a person.
Then, what do you want me to do?
Layfon asked in confusion. For a delicate senpai with a short stature, her doll-like perfect face contained no traces of perplexity.
You only need to remain as you are.
What?
Remain as you are with that attitude you had when you fought Nina.
What do you mean?
Feli had already turned her back and opened her school bag on the long bench. She took out something from it and left it on the chair.
Excuse me.
This is your badge and the permit to be armed. Please pin the badge on your uniform. Tomorrow, go with Harley to the weapon fitting department and take the permit with you. Harley'll help with your weapon settings.
Having quickly told him that, Feli nodded lightly and left the clinic. He had lost his conversation partner. Layfon's words rolled in his mouth. His outstretched hand had lost its purpose and could only wave weakly in the air. What came through first was a sense of debilitation, then a long sigh. Feli complained heavily about Carrion, but she left immediately after leaving Layfon with the instructions she was told to deliver, whereas Carrion had dismissed him from the room. Feli's manner was exactly the same as her brother's.
Just what now?
Layfon bent down on the long bench. He couldn't think of any good strategies. Beside him were the silver badge and a piece of paper. It seemed that the reality of his entering the platoon won't be changed.
Gee. Why did it turn out like this?
The next day after school, just when Layfon was about to escape, not knowing where Harley's classroom lay, Harley himself appeared in the same oil-stained working suit that he wore yesterday.
Too, Prof. Nina holds heavy weapons that don't suit her either, but she knows how to handle the weight and has been fighting through in her own way,
he said to Layfon, who was following behind him with a fed-up expression in his eyes. Harley never once noticed it.
But your situation's different. Your body movements with the sword just weren't smooth. Your fighting style is more focused on speed, right? That's how you were trained, isn't it?
No. I only learned a little at the dojo. I don't know the details that well. The weapon I used was about the same as yesterday's practice sword.
Really?
Harley said, looking confused.
You don't look like an amateur from the fight with Nina yesterday. I thought you've gone through professional training.
Not really. In Grendon. I was born in Grendon. Dojos of that level are everywhere. I went to train a bit because there was a dojo near my home.
Military arts is really popular in Grandin. Well, I see. So that means in Grandin there are lots of highly skilled fighters like you?
Well, how should I put it? I haven't fought much with others, so I'm not sure.
Whatever whatever it is, you must still have some confidence in your real strength.
Not at all. A smile appeared on the kind and friendly senpai. They came to a building with a sign, Weapon Fitting Department, on the wall, and entered it. Harley handed the document through the window, took a wooden box from the window, and carried it back to the waiting Layfon. Harley thrust the box to him and led the way out of the department.
To put it correctly, it's my class's lab.
What is Senpai specializing in?
Weapon adjustment. Sure, I need to invent, but I prefer to adjust weapons so they best fit their owners.
Layfon now understood why Harley was so stubborn and determined about his weapon being unsuitable.
That's a bit different from trainers. How should I put it?
In Granite, we call them the Date engineers.
Ah, I see. That's a good title.
No, the lab itself was the manifestation of messiness. After opening the door, Layfon saw something in the color of charcoal sticking tightly to the floor. Near the wall beside the door was a pile of magazines and papers with difficult names, A thin layer of dust covered it. There was also a mug with a dirtied edge and a piece of half-eaten bread thrown aside. The life of a single male and its worst stereotype had become reality here. The provoking smell in the air made Layfon dizzy. Harley looked to be practical, but that seemed to be only limited to what he was interested in. 3 tables sat in the spacious room. On each desk was the exact same situation, so Layfon couldn't tell the difference between them. Harley pushed aside the things on one of the tables and got him to place the wooden box there. In the box were several rod-like things. In a relaxed manner, Harley took out one of the rods that was dark as charcoal. He took out a long electrical terminal from the gearbox on the table and inserted it into the rod. The terminal slid in easily.
Let's first adjust the handle of the sword. You're one-handed, right? Do you want to set it for 2 hands?
Please do.
Layfon said so, knowing that Harley wouldn't have listened if he said he could adjust whatever settings he wanted.
Roger, hold this.
Harley handed something over that he took out from the small mountain on the desk. It was a half-transparent item with a bluish tinge to it. At one end was a wire linking it to a machine.
Damn! Hold it just like how you hold a sword.
Layfon thought of the feeling he had when holding a sword. Then he tightened his grip on the icy cold rod-like thing. The thing had its own resistance and didn't get squashed. Compared with its soft appearance, it was surprisingly hard.
Wow, your grip is quite strong. Even if you fight with your bare fist, it's gonna hurt.
Harley nodded while looking at the number appearing on the display. He pulled out the keyboard to enter the number. Sudden changes appeared at the end of the rod where the terminal was inserted. The rod extended and expanded, its appearance adjusting continuously, eventually becoming what was shown on the display.
Try again.
Layfon did so.
How does it feel?
Pretty good.
Nothing felt out of place. Layfon's every finger held the handle closely. Without waiting for a reply, Harley had entered the experimental lab and brought back a pile of rods. Layfon's worked up a cold sweat just by looking at the pile of rods on the floor.
Well, let's begin testing.
Smiling, Harley handed a rod to Layfon. It seemed he'd spend a lot of time here. When Harley let him go, the sun had already sunk down in the west. Layfon returned to the dormitory in a flurry and jumped onto the bed. He slept for a few hours and was awakened by the alarm clock. He fixed his messy hair, dressed himself in his work clothes, and rushed out of the dormitory. This was Layfon's first workday. Holding the map in one hand, Layfon arrived at an underground entrance outside the residential district. He handed his work permit to the police student for checkup and entered the interior. Right before him was a lift. Layfon sat inside the simple lift that was encircled with a metal fence and headed down into the depths of the city. Just when the indescribable smell of oil and liquid became stronger and stronger, the lift stopped, sending a great jolt up Layfon's body. The dim light lit up a scene before him. Numerous tubes and wires crossed each other. A gear wheel was moving up and down in its own rhythm. Selenium flowed like blood in one direction inside the glass-like tubes, whereas liquid in the color of murky sediment flowed in the opposite direction. This place was underneath the city, the central mechanism chamber. The scene of a Regios' heart lay open before Layfon.
How shocking!
A young man who looked to be also a half-studying and half-working student walked past and greeted Layfon as he stared speechlessly at the sight before him. Layfon followed the young man to the person in charge, and then started his job of cleaning. As he was a beginner, he was sent to clean the corridors. Grouped with the other newbie, Layfon went to work in the maze-like corridors. About 1 hour later, both of them started to get the hang of how to remove the mixed liquid from the wall, so they divided the work between them. It was easier this way to finish their target. When Layfon went to discharge the dirty water in his bucket and get some more clean water, his partner was resting on the floor, totally exhausted.
Are you resting?
Yeah. came the powerless reply. How to put it? It's tough. I picked this job 'cause I needed money, but I never thought it was such hard work to just clean the floor.
That's because you use too much unnecessary strength. What if you don't use the muscles of your wrist but the weight of your entire body?
Layfon advised, but his partner was so exhausted that he only made some noise as a response. Never mind, Layfon thought. He continued cleaning with the clean water and the cleaning liquid. He didn't resent the repetitiveness of the work, since he could leave his mind blank and not think of anything. He only needed to concentrate on moving his body, his consciousness swallowed in the flow inside him. That was the blood running in his veins, which was the flow needed to open up the flow of K. If he focused more, blood and K would flow to the antibodies inside him. Layfon kept on brushing while enjoying that feeling. When the water in the bucket turned dark, he was brought back to reality.
I have to change the water,
he murmured, and unexpectedly got a reply.
Then please change mine too.
Startled, Layfon lifted his gaze to the source of the voice and got another shock.
In exchange, let me treat you to supper. What's wrong?
Senpai, why are you here?
It was Nina. She wore the same work clothes as Layfon. A bucket filled with dirty water sat beside her feet, and she was holding a brush missing a handle. Oil stained her nose, cheeks, and even her hair.
I'm half studying and half working too. Is that so strange? With that, I'm leaving the water to you. I'll buy some food. Meet up here later.
Nina left Layfon at a loss. When Layfon came back with clean water after a few minutes, Nina also managed to make it back in time.
Thanks.
It didn't seem like he was dreaming. Nina was looking at the wide-mouthed Layfon disapprovingly. Both of his hands were occupied with the buckets.
How do you plan to eat? Put down the buckets. You should rest when it's time to rest.
Yes!
He placed the buckets on the floor and hurried away to join her. They sat down on a tube. Nina handed over a sandwich. He took a large bite. The delicious taste of chicken, vegetables, and spicy sauce seeped into his tired body.
Very delicious.
This is the most popular bento. It's always sold out. If you don't time it right, you'll never get to have it.
Nina's lips relaxed slowly. She handed Layfon a paper cup filled with red tea. It was red tea with ice. The sugar level wasn't too high. The drink tasted nice.
Did you buy this too?
No, I made it.
She shook her head and put the lid on her water bottle.
I wasn't planning to share. Didn't know you were here, so I went to get some water just then.
I'm sorry.
No worries, and just a warning. Prepare your own drink from now on. The water here tastes horrible.
Layfon left his mouth open, then looked at the side of Nina's face. And Nina, happily eating her sandwich, while her beautiful golden locks were oil-stained, just didn't match each other.
What is it? I can't eat with you staring.
Sorry, I'm just surprised.
Yeah?
Very surprised. Like how I can't imagine Senpai's working here, and also...
She looked very cute, taking huge bites of her sandwich, but knowing he'd get quite a beating if he let those words out, Layfon quickly swallowed them.
Well, in terms of health, this is the worst environment you can imagine.
Luckily, she didn't notice him struggling with his words.
But it's true that the pay is good. For someone as poor as me, I'm grateful to get such high pay.
Poor?
Are you that surprised?
No, not really.
It was true that he was surprised about it. When he first met Nina, he felt an elegant, higher-class bearing from her on top of the disciplined demeanor that passionate military arts people preferred.
Frankly, my family isn't poor.
Nina washed down her last bite of sandwich with red tea. Looking at the Nina now, it was hard to imagine she was of the upper class.
Then...
Didn't I say my family? My parents were against me studying here, so I ran away from home. They don't send me any allowance.
And for what?
Why did you come here?
The only scholarship qualification that I passed was this Academy City, so I'm here.
Disappointment appeared on Nina. No, what she tried to cover underneath was the anger in her eyes.
And I'm an orphan, so I haven't got any money.
After quickly adding that line, he could see the apology in her eyes.
Is that so? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I've always wanted to go outside,
Nina said softly and took another sandwich.
For us born in Regios, the majority of people spend their entire lifetime in the same city. Because of the filth monsters outside, we're trapped like birds in a cage. But there are also people who travel on roaming buses in between cities. They can look at many different worlds as opposed to many who only see one world. I'm envious of them.
Receiving Nina's glare again for staring at her, Layfon hastily took a bite of his sandwich.
I couldn't become a traveler, but I still wanted to see the outside world, so I was determined to come to the Academy City. I found that a reasonable choice, but my parents were very against it.
Nina's eyes narrowed in enjoyment. Perhaps she was recalling the scene of her defying her parents.
That was my first time arguing with my dad to such an extreme end. I didn't know what he was thinking, but I was happy.
Is that why you don't get any allowance?
Yeah, they found out that I took the exam behind their backs. They locked me in the room when I was about to leave. I only managed to escape and board the bus in the last minute. I sent home a letter after arriving here. I wrote what I thought was right. The return letter was extremely short. It included a return bus ticket and a piece of paper saying, "Besides this, we won't give you any help. So I'm like this now,"
She concluded and fell silent, eating her sandwich. Layfon also focused on eating. Nina finished the last sandwich and poured some red tea into the paper cup.
I'm only good at military arts, so that's why I'm in this case. But you seem different.
According to the student president, Layfon was forced to transfer.
Not at all.
He shook his head, lowered his head to gaze at the red tea in his cup. The coldness of the iced red tea seeped through the paper and into his palm.
I still haven't decided what to do, but I want to do something.
What about military arts? Frankly, I think you're strong in it.
Not military arts. I failed it already.
Failed? What happened?
Glah, glah, glah! Footsteps of someone running in the corridor sounded. Then that someone appeared, coming close to the place where Layfon and Nina were resting. It was an older man wearing the same clothes as them. A beard adorned his chin. Machine oil filled his fingernails. Layfon guessed he must be a senpai in the mechanical engineering course. Hey, did you see it here?
See what?
Layfon said, but Nina got ahead of him.
Here again?
Again. Sorry, I'm counting on you. The man ran away.
This is troublesome.
Nina drained her red tea and stood up.
What happened?
Come and help. We don't have to clean today.
What?
The consciousness of the city has escaped.
Even so, he didn't understand it. He could only say, "What?"
Never mind that, just come.
Layfon followed. Amongst the regular noises of gears turning were erratic footsteps stamping on metallic floors, but Nina was strolling in the busy atmosphere.
Is this urgent?
For the mechanical engineering students that look after this place, it's serious enough for them to have their marks taken off.
Oh, the city's consciousness? She said that the city's consciousness had escaped. But what was the city's consciousness? Layfon didn't get it. Since it was a self-governing city, the city would move according to its own will. No one knew where a city would go, and the people living in it couldn't control it. People lived in cities that floated, lost on the barren surface of the earth. Rumor had it that in the time when humans didn't have to rely on Regios, they had maps mapping the entire world. But these maps had lost their value. No one ever read them anymore. For humans living in this age, what happened outside a city was a mystery. At the same time, the city that they couldn't control was also in itself a mystery. He wouldn't have not known what it meant by the city's consciousness. But what it was like to have the city's consciousness escaping was hard to fathom. Nina didn't hesitate when coming across any forked corridors. Layfon watched her back, confused.
Aren't we looking for it?
There's no need.
Why?
Layfon was more confused. He caught up with Nina to look at her face and only saw excitement on her gentle countenance. She didn't look around. She was just walking straight in the direction she knew.
The city's consciousness has a strong sense of curiosity.
Nina said suddenly.
So it likes to run around. That serves to avoid the filth monsters. But what's more important is its bottomless curiosity to explore the world. It runs here and there. That's how Harley puts it.
Nina halted her steps, blocked by the railing. From here, they could look into the depth of the city's heart, layered by machineries, the air vibrating with the sound of machines at work. And above that was something that pulsated with golden light.
And because of that, it's also curious about new things inside itself. It's curious like you, a new student. Zuellni!
Nina called. The ball of light flew through the air in circles.
The workers are agitated,
she said. The ball of light flew straight at Nina. Without giving Layfon the chance to shout "Watch out!" the ball of light was in Nina's arms.
Haha, aren't you full of spirit?
Nina smiled, carrying the ball of light. Layfon took a closer look at it and was speechless. The ball of light was a small child.
But you gotta work properly. If you get lazy, the workers have to run around and adjust a great deal of things.
It was about the size of an infant, but the ratio of its limbs looked normal. Her hair was long enough to touch her toes. She gazed at Nina cheerfully with big and animated eyes. This is the city's consciousness. Layfon stared at the light-emitting girl without a word. The girl looked past Nina's shoulder and caught his eyes.
He's new. Let me introduce. He's Layfon Alseif. He's very strong. Layfon. She's Zuellni.
Layfon's gaze flickered between Nina and the girl.
That is, the same as the city's name?
Isn't that a given? The city is this child's real form.
Perhaps this was a given, but it was hard to associate this little girl with the huge city he was in.
Oh, I'm Layfon Alseif.
Layfon extended his hand to shake hers. Zuellni had already jumped from Nina's arm to her shoulder, then onto Layfon's chest. Layfon held her in haste. She was weightless, but he could feel her body heat through his thick working suit. Zuellni held tightly to his clothes, hugging him. She was gazing up at him with pure and polished eyes, making him feel a bit embarrassed.
Oh, she seems to like you,
Nina said, trying to suppress her laughter.
What?
Zuellni won't let anyone she hates touch her. If I explain it in Harley's words, Zuellni is the electronic fairy, the consolidated form of the city's particles. Once the form loosens, the electronic particles will shoot through the other's body, just like a lightning strike.
Hearing that explanation, Layfon wasn't sure what to say. He couldn't believe such a cute little girl would harm humans.
The workers are all so worked up about Zuellni being missing because of that too, on top of the gears not moving properly. But I don't think this gentle girl can harm others.
Nina patted Zuellni's head. Zuellni squinted, but even Layfon himself didn't know how he'd have reacted when he first learned of this. Nina's easy and relaxed manner enabled him to hug Zuellni so naturally.
Senpai is incredible.
Why so sudden?
That's what I think.
You're weird.
Nina took Zuellni from him. While she turned her back to Layfon, he saw her cheeks reddening. Was she too sensitive?
Okay, have you seen enough? Then return to your place. Even you dislike the workers adjusting things when nothing's out of place.
Layfon ran to catch up with her.
We have to train tomorrow for the platoon match,
Nina said to him. Layfon halted his footsteps, his jaunty mood disappearing. Chapter 3. Training.
I finally settled down. How are you over there? It's irritating how cities can only maintain contact through letters. It'd be great if we could just call, but how do you fix a line between cities? If that could be done, the cities would probably trip on the cables.
Honestly, I'm tired. I'm used to cleaning at the mechanical department, but it's still problematic. I suppose I'll get used to these irregular hours sooner or later. Right now, all I can do is keep at it. School life is all right, but I haven't had much chance to use my brain, so I'm not expecting much for my results. I regret not listening to you and doing some serious studying. You must be laughing now. Okay, this is reality, so I can only accept your laughter. I really regret it.
From the day I let go of the Heaven's Blade, I've turned back into someone normal. Except, it's difficult to make a fresh start. Sometimes I think that my past lifestyle was relaxing. A voice inside me hopes to return to the old life.
It's embarrassing. Master won't let it. Her Majesty won't allow it. Even I don't agree with it. Letting go of the art of katana was my way of showing my attitude to Master and Her Majesty. To be forgiven by letting go of the katana was my biggest… what am I saying? Sorry. Please just forget it all. That's just an excuse. Everything is. I'm really useless. I won't send this letter. It isn't worth reading.
Are you okay?
It was now lunch break. Layfon bent over the table. He didn't even have the strength to go buy bread. Mifon drained the prepackaged milk, and without moving a foot, tossed the packet into the rubbish bin. The packet flew through the air and fell into the bin as if it was sucked into it.
Mifi-chan, you're dirty.
The milk left inside the packet had leaked from the straw. Mifei ignored Mei Shen, who had her handkerchief pressed to the side of her head. Mei Shen was also looking at Layfon.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Even Layfon himself wasn't sure. What he just said wasn't convincing at all. He saw bags under his eyes in the mirror yesterday, so he was feeling a bit down. Naruki returned to the classroom. She held 2 paper bags and placed one before Layfon.
Here. I just picked whatever since I didn't know what you like.
Sorry, thanks.
No worries. Remember to pay me back, though.
Naruki smiled as she took back the money from him. She then looked at his waist and saw a dite hanging from the harness.
So what's the reason? Work at the mechanical department, or is it that?
Work's okay. It's surprisingly good.
Layfon got up slowly and took a bite of the bread from the bag. The dryness of the bread was uncomfortable. He inserted the straw into the packet of milk that was in the same bag.
So it's training? Was it hard?
Mifi took out another packet of milk from her paper bag and inserted a straw into it. The three girls sat down in the chairs around him. He smiled bitterly and sucked milk from the straw to wet the inside of his mouth.
It's training for the upcoming platoon match, right? That must be exhausting.
Platoon match?
I know. I heard about it before, but I've forgotten, so I'm not really sure.
Mifi raised the same question as Meishin. Naruki started her explanation. As for Layfon, Naruki speaks like a senpai. Do all female soldiers speak like that? Thinking of this, Layfon didn't take in anything being said around him.
Is that a good thing?
Of course. That means your abilities are acknowledged. Besides, you can really do something for the people in the city. It's something for military arts people to take pride in.
But isn't that dangerous? If it was me, I wouldn't have chosen to come to such a dangerous place.
That's 'cause you're thinking of it from the angle of military arts. For example, if you get to run a magazine, you'll also do what you can to get good results, right?
Oh, I see.
If it's Meishin, you'll also do your best in your cake shop, right?
Yeah.
They both understood now.
To get good marks in your specialized area isn't just about dignity, but also about the evaluation of strength. In strategic planning, you've got to really know your own strengths, like whose ability is the best, which platoon excels, those kinds of things. So the best way to get a better understanding of all that is to create real warlike situations, meaning the platoon matches.
So it's to determine who is the strongest? That sounds like a little kid's fight.
Layfon couldn't help but agree with Mifi. Who is the strongest? Thinking how he got himself involved in this meaningless ranking fight, he couldn't swallow his bread.
The matches aren't conducted in the manner of knockout matches. The purpose isn't to see who wins the most matches, so you can't really tell which team is the strongest. Still, we can't deny that some people really care about the matches. The match is time-limited, and with that, you can judge the strength and precision of the teams. If a platoon wins, it'll get prize money, just like how you get scholarship if you regularly take top place in the general studies test.
A topic not related to me has a...
Mifi puffed up her face, and the two other girls smiled. Layfon also laughed.
Is training hard?
Yeah. Tilda.
They'd know even if he denied it, but it looked pretty bad to admit so honestly, so he could only substitute with some vague wordings. Men really are proud creatures. This saddened him. He could only smile bitterly.
Layden isn't training 'cause he likes it. So you don't have to force yourself to train so hard. It's best to just pretend since training is tiring.
Mifi concluded, after finishing her third packet of milk. Meishin also nodded. Only Naruki was silently nibbling at her bread and eyeing Layfon suspiciously. He didn't train because he liked it. That was the truth. He didn't like military arts anymore. No, seriously, he had never liked military arts. It was something he had already lost. It was the same as how one couldn't repeat his past and regain what was lost. Wolfstein. Layfon's title that the student president used was also one of the things he had lost. It was not possible to get it back. The student president was seeking that which could not be taken back. And the Nina who knew nothing of it.
That's right.
Layfon returned his attention to the room.
Oh, yes.
Huh?
From Mifi. In her hand was a fourth packet of milk.
Do you just drink milk for lunch?
Mifi angrily conveyed her need to overcome the disadvantage of her body. She gave him quite a thrashing. Nina's impatient gaze stabbed his face. Even so, he couldn't help it. In the battleground reserved for military arts students, Layfon held the restored dite in his hands, a feeling of directionless uncertainty rising inside him. Harley had adjusted a sword of green dite for him. The long, thin blade emitted a teal light. For he who was hiding in the bushes, the gem-like light of the blade made him stand out too much. He leaned against the trunk of a tree and controlled his breathing. His heartbeat had to be regular, or else the training machine would detect the irregularity and attack him. The irritation of a plan gone wrong was scolding Layfon. Though he didn't feel that he was responsible in any way, he was the only one here. Both Feli and Harley were waiting for orders in the rear. Since meeting the electronic fairy Zuellni at the mechanical department, Layfon had not seen a smile on Mina's face. Sharnid was the first reason behind her irritation. He was late for training. He totally ignored her harsh reproach and didn't even reflect on his actions. All he did was utter a casual "sorry" with dissatisfaction and restore his weapon. Sharnid's weapon was a sniper rifle. On top of the light and white dite was a large scope. It'd be impossible to avoid the automatic machine's attack without Sharnid's support. Layfon still felt uneasy. He had no idea what Sharnid's range was. The breathing irregularity could be because of that. He relaxed his breath. Next was the unease that came from his uncertainty of the enemy's location. The last team member, Feli, was responsible for intelligence support. The doll-like, silver-haired, beautiful girl used a half-transparent staff that was made of heavy alloy. The staff was made up of things that looked like flakes, which were scattered when the staff was in operation. Feli had the power of psychokinesis. She could move things with her mind. Through psychokinesis, she could scatter the flakes over large areas to obtain intelligence and convey the information to her team members.
2 responses at point 1005.
Feli's light and faint voice sounded through Layfon's earpiece. This was also an item using Feli's psychokinesis, so it was harder for enemies to eavesdrop. Without exchanging glances, Layfon and Nina rushed out of the bushes. An arm smashed suddenly into the place where the two had been hiding. Then a robot shaped like a barrel with a wooden knife fitted onto its wrist was spraying red paint everywhere.
Too slow,
Nina called as she retreated. After collecting herself, she lashed out at the machine with her iron whips, and Layfon headed for the other automatic machine that was still hidden from sight. He moved out of the shadow of the trees to make himself a target so Nina could concentrate on her fight. As if to answer his prediction, the other robot was about to swing down its weapon. The fake wooden axe chopped down towards Layfon's head. He took a step back and felt the passing of air at the tip of his nose. Unexpectedly, he got himself into a fight with another machine. The enemy type was a distance fighting type. Layfon at that fact and dipped his head to avoid the axe. Distracted by another long-range attack from somewhere, and observing Nina suppressing her opponent, Layfon was unable to make an attack.
Still haven't found it yet, sniper.
While calling, she knocked off the colored wooden knife and struck the machine with her other iron whip. Now that Nina had won, Layfon didn't know what to do next. Should he lead the enemy to her and fight it together, knowing he couldn't block the fire from the other enemy? No, Nina would become the target of the enemy, and besides, he didn't have the confidence to work with her. In addition, once the captain was defeated, they'd lose the match, so he must take care not to involve her in more danger. Confusion caused Layfon's movement to slow down. He did avoid the axe, but the way he did it looked so ridiculous that even he was angry about it. He'd lost his balance. At that moment, Nina headed straight for him. Perhaps she thought he couldn't avoid the next strike. He felt the same. And this was when the long-distance shot came. The bell signaling the end of the match rang through the air. Spattered with mud and paint, Nina walked in front, looking displeased. Everyone was tired. The scene had now moved to the resting room. With both wrists on his knees, Layfon sat tiredly on a chair, looking at the floor. Sharnid laid down on a bench, his eyes covered by a towel. Feli was the only one with a calm expression. She had let down her hair and was combing it. Nina stood before them all, watching them. Anger came through.
We just formed the platoon a short while ago, so I understand we can't yet coordinate well. I clearly understand that.
Nina sighed and relaxed her shoulders.
Sharnid, why didn't you cover Layfon?
It's not that easy to avoid shooting your own teammate. It's not possible with the kind of coordination we're aiming for, if we can't even breathe on the same beat. To do that, Layfon has to accurately sense the timing of my shot and move accordingly. Shooting a comrade who's in an intense fight with the enemy scares me. She looked at Layfon.
Layfon, why didn't you lead the enemy to me?
If the captain fell, then we'd have lost. I could act as bait and draw up the enemy.
You should have let me make that decision.
Yes, but there wasn't time.
Another enemy was attacking him at close range, so he didn't have the leisure to wait for her order.
That was my limit.
Feli's reply was unusually cold. Her refusal to respond was like a whip across Nina's face. Would she howl out in anger? That thought tensed Layfon's shoulders, but Nina remained silent, glaring at Feli. Who knew how long this silence would last? Embarrassment and disapproval were thick in the air. Though he felt suffocated, he didn't feel like breaking that atmosphere. He was already exhausted. But
Excuse me.
Harley walked in without knocking. He immediately noticed the atmosphere and halted his steps.
What's up?
I came to help Layfon with his setting of the diet.
He replied, scratching his head. Perhaps speaking up helped him to make up his mind. Harley carried his box to a chair and opened it.
Since he's used it for a few days, I think I can get some detailed settings done. If anyone else feels your weapon needs adjusting, you can let me know.
No tilde nothing. Sharnid sat up slowly. Harley's settings are perfect. That I can be so relaxed is all thanks to you.
Mine's okay. Really? That's great. Nina? No. If there's a need, I'll let you know.
Sure.
What happened next was just the sound of gears being laid out on the floor. In this very short period of time, everyone was watching Harley's movement. He definitely felt their weird gazes, but Harley started to whistle happily. The atmosphere became more relaxed. No, perhaps they were only tired of the embarrassment. Well, Sharned picked up his bag.
Where are you going?
What?
Then I'm also leaving.
Felly's not gonna wash away your sweat?
I don't sweat as much. Besides, showering here makes me feel like someone's peeking at me.
What a shame. If Felly doesn't grow up more, no one will peek at you. Ignoring Sharned's teasing, Felly left the room. He shrugged and headed for the shower room. With his head on his hands, Layfon watched Nina standing there. He had nothing to say to her. Her shoulders were trembling. Even so, he couldn't escape as Harley had already caught him, but he felt he couldn't stay silent anymore. Focusing on the gears, Harley seemed oblivious to his surroundings. Nina's face showed she didn't know how to end this awkwardness. Layfon made some noise without knowing what to say.
We have to practice a formation. You come over when you're done.
Nina walked out. The irritating sound of the door closing affected the air of the room.
Looking at that face of hers, it'd be good if she calmed down a bit.
Layfon smiled in return.
Pound, seriously, Nina can act calmly, but she's impatient now. That can't be helped.
His face full of smiles, Harley wrapped a wire around Layfon's diet.
Senpai really understands her.
Kind of. We're childhood friends.
Oh, huh? But I remember Senpai.
She said she ran away from home.
Ha! Ran away from home. Do you think she wouldn't know anybody at the place she ran away to?
That was true.
That's true. Why didn't I think of that?
But on second thought, he knew the reason. Nina came here against her parents' wishes. Such strong determination gave off a proud and lonely air. So he felt she didn't know anyone here. The other reason was that he didn't know anyone here from Grendon. Ah, so that's why. Her situation's different from mine. After laughing secretly at himself, Layfon forgot his misunderstanding of Nina. Besides, the other 3 girls that he knew also came from the same city. He felt helpless with his slow intuition. As per Harley's instruction, he restored his dite. The wire around the dite conveyed its information to the machine. He asked Harley a question, who was looking at the number on the display.
Why did Senpai want to form a platoon?
Do you find it hard to believe?
Senpai's only a 3rd year, isn't she? I heard that most of the platoon captains are 4th year or above. Hasn't she still got time?
Yeah, if you look at the study years, then there's still time. But who knows whether this city still has time?
His fingers flying on the keyboard, Harley asked.
You know, right? You should have heard of it from the student president.
Yes.
He said it was to make us more alert of danger, but he did all that to increase our fighting strength.
Is that it?
That's right, but I don't think that's all of it. He's stubborn. Oh, let's leave the student president aside for now.
Harley clapped his hands, pulling Layfon back into reality. His face had turned green just by remembering the nasty memories about the student president.
The time Nina spends here is important to her. You should know since you heard of her running away.
Layfon nodded. Nina had said that she wanted to see what a majority of people couldn't see, the world outside the city.
That's a precious experience. Yes, it's a precious experience to come to a city run by students only, but it's even more precious an experience to understand the outside world. A lot of people can never experience that.
Even so, there were numerous Academy cities, enough to conduct the military arts competition. The same type of cities fought for fuel. In other words, this was the proof that the city had enough number of students. This told Layfon that there were more humans than he thought, but a majority of people would never see each other. Even Layfon didn't know everyone at Grendon. Grendon had a population of about 100,000 people. But if people lived in the same city and wanted to meet up, they could. Perhaps if they desired to see each other, even with the filth monsters roaming the earth, they could see the person of another city. But he couldn't place the level of difficulty of those 2 types of meetings side by side. It's rare to get on a roaming bus just to see another city. It's extremely taxing to travel to another city, and it's dangerous. Numerous cities spread across the earth like stars, moving back and forth in an isolated world. Thinking of this, it felt so unbelievably hard to comprehend that it confounded him.
People might have never met, but we were given the chance to meet here. Don't you find that interesting? Hey, Nina doesn't want to lose that experience, so she'd try everything within her power. Nina's the type of person to act, so please don't hate her too much.
Layfon didn't think he hated her. Afterward, he headed alone for the training complex, in the direction of where he thought the training room was. It didn't take him long to arrive as it was close to the battleground. Layfon felt a heavy weight on his shoulders as he neared the entrance of the training complex. He wasn't sure whether there was a weight. No, he knew he had a burden there. He just didn't want to realize that it was on him.
If they lost in this military arts competition, the city would lose its fuel source. In other words, the city's consciousness that he came across at the mechanical department, that cute electric fairy, would face its death.
What a tragic thing. But he couldn't really feel that happening. Just like the clear scene reflected in the glassy surface of the door to the training complex, he felt that it was happening in another city. He couldn't comprehend the fact that what he did would have a direct impact on the life and death of the city. He went through the door and headed for the training room of Platoon 17. The sounds of practice from other training rooms made the entire building tremble. The building was designed to contain the varied powers of the military arts students, but it didn't seem to have good soundproofing. Isn't it time to give up? He heard this just as he was about to open to the door to the training room of Platoon 17. He stopped. There were other students in the room besides Nina. 3 males surrounded her. The tension in the air caressed Layfon's skin. His wrist moved towards his weapon harness on its own. Nina's arms were lowered. She held her restored iron whips tightly. She stared at the 3 students with an icy gaze, hiding her emotions. The conversation continued. No one seemed to have noticed Layfon. You should know now that it's not easy to form a platoon, the person standing right in front of Nina said. And your members are Sharnid, who can't coordinate well with his ability, and 2 others that the student president forced into military arts. Morale itself is already a problem. Do you really think you can form a team with those people and lead them in battle? If that's the case, then you're looking down on military arts. The target person wasn't him, but Layfon felt pressure bearing down into his stomach. This was an intimidation technique using the internal type K. It was the opposite of external type burst K. The internal type K could directly affect one's body. The voice with K made Nina tremble. Nina's shoulders were shaking, but her eyes showed she was not afraid and threatened. She didn't look at the hand stretching toward her. She stared right in the eyes of the young man.
I thank you for your invitation. Let me thank you deeply for giving me such high evaluation. But if I still want to test my ability, no matter how badly I look in others' eyes, I still want to test myself through my own strength.
Her resolute answer tightened up the atmosphere again. This time it wasn't the person before, probably the captain of the 3rd platoon, but the other 2 people. Layfon held his breath. The captain of the 3rd platoon sighed. I knew you'd give me that answer. He relaxed his shoulders. The other 2 also lowered their hostility. I feel you're wasting your ability. Really, why did the student president accept your unreasonable team proposal?
Sorry.
There's no need to apologize. It's not a bad thing for the city if you become stronger. But I hope you understand that this city doesn't have the time to watch you grow.
I understand.
Good. The captain shrugged, turned from Nina, and walked away. As there was only one exit, Layfon quickly moved aside. The captain left wordlessly, not even looking at him. The door closed. Nina's gaze pierced through Layfon to the closed door. She didn't notice his presence. Layfon was painfully aware that he wasn't in her line of sight. She didn't notice his presence. Layfon was painfully aware that he wasn't in her line of sight. She wasn't looking at him.
She's looking at the other side. It was the side of the glass. He felt he had lost his place there. Of course, even he felt it was too rich a line coming from him. Wolfstein, he should have understood the moment he abandoned this title and left Grendon, so he could pretend the pain in his chest was someone else's. Then he could view it as something beautiful.
Come, Layfon. Time to practice.
Nina's line of vision moved to him. There were no traces of confusion in her expression, no traces left of her conversation with the captain of the 3rd platoon. Yes, Layfon nodded and hurried to her side. But the feeling of standing on the other side of the glass didn't disappear. He knew this was a feeling of distance, those firm-looking pupils of hers. The K filling her limbs gave off a painful light from her eyes. This had nothing to do with the quality and weight of her K, but with her firm and determined personality. It was beautiful. To Layfon, it was as beautiful as a painting. That was why she stood on the other side of the glass. Layfon restored his diet. The sun sank down in the west. The complex closing time came and saved Layfon from Nina's side. After washing off his sweat, he plodded back to his dormitory.
Layton sighted. Capture him!
Roger, capturing him now.
Mifi's shrill voice and Naruki's lowered voice vibrated through his exhausted body. Next, what? Huh? When he had collected himself, he was already tied up by a rope. When did that happen? He toppled onto the ground.
We've caught the target. Please give your next order.
Parade him around the city.
Roger.
Hey, stop it! Layfon calmly intruded. Mife puffed up her cheeks.
That can't be done. Speaking of which, how come he became like this?
That's my rope capture technique, passed down by my father. Isn't it incredible?
Brilliant! It's too brilliant. But why so sudden? I don't understand what's happening.
Oh, I'm just doing it. I'm not sure myself.
Just doing it? And what's with the rope? Do you carry it with you all the time?
As someone who wants to join the police force, it's a must to carry around a rope all the time.
Is that a given?
Layfon asked, but failed to sway Naruki's confidence.
So what's this for?
He asked, looking at Mifi and Naruki.
Oh? I said we were going to drink tea, so we waited here for you.
I see, but why this?
Just doing it. Foo, foo. Tilda, I knew Layton doesn't have to work today. Don't underestimate Miffy's intelligence.
Yeah, but I didn't refuse you. Before I got the chance to refuse, I was like this.
They didn't listen to his words. Mifi pushed a person out from Naruki's shadow. He thought it was Meishin. But no,
Feli-senpai?
I got caught.
she said without any expression. She was also bound by a rope. They spaced out like that for a while.
Hey, what were you guys doing?
Layfon looked around. Luckily, there was no one around but them. He wondered how long those two girls had been hiding here, waiting to ambush them.
No, I'm saying why did you use this method? It's a bit extreme. It's like kidnapping from the perspective of an observer.
She's the younger sister of the student president.
Meaning, we can get a huge ransom, right?
Layfon and Mifi looked at each other.
Police, there's a kidnapper here.
Okay, I'll catch her right away.
In the next moment, Naruki had also tied up Mifi.
I just wanted to have dinner with everyone.
After Mifi had surrendered, Naruki untied everyone. The four of them headed for the busier district of the city.
Mei-Chi's got work today, so we're waiting for her to finish and might as well enter the Observe Mei-Chi's working look plan.
A plan?
Well, can you imagine her appearance at work?
That's a bit difficult.
It was hard to imagine Meishin working. She was so shy.
Right? This'll be my first time seeing her at work. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mifi skipped on the red-bricked path.
It's good she's taking the initiative, but I feel a bit lonely now.
Have you three known each other for long?
Yeah, we were neighbors.
Our parents knew each other for a long time too, from their birth.
Amazing.
Layfon honestly showed his admiration. He also had a group of childhood friends from the orphanage, but none of them came to Zuellni.
You three must be very close coming here together.
Yeah, Tilda, it's fate.
Yeah.
Yes, we won't feel lonely even if we're in an unfamiliar place. Our parents agree with that.
Mifi said, and started a conversation about the past with Naruki. Unable to enter the conversation, Layfon kept a distance between them. Feli was beside him. Silently walking, she stared at the backs of the two girls.
Sorry for forcing you to come with us.
It's okay.
She didn't move her gaze away from the backs of the two girls.
The rope seemed fun.
Was it fun?
Yes.
Feli replied, not even moving her eyebrows. Layfon didn't understand what she was thinking, but it was good that she didn't get mad. He let out a sigh. Feli was walking lightly with her hands behind her back. Looking at her childish appearance, he couldn't imagine that she was older than him. She was older, but her age difference didn't stand out at all because she was only 1 year apart. But comparing her with Mifi and Naruki, she looked even younger than them.
Is Senpai working too?
No.
I see.
He couldn't think of what to say. Even his question was blocked. He knew nothing of her. Unlike Mifi and the others, Feli wasn't the type to divert with the conversation so long as the atmosphere was right.
Just keep doing that.
Feli said, as he was thinking of what to say.
Huh?
I meant during training. Just keep doing that.
Why?
Don't you want to avoid fighting?
The honest and direct question made him speechless.
If you perform well without the will to fight, other people will have expectations of you.
I suppose.
He nodded.
It's ridiculous to do what you don't want to do.
Meaning, Feli also hadn't used her true ability in training, the same as him. He now understood why he was so tired. He couldn't escape the place he wanted to leave. This feeling took a lot of his strength. He made unnecessary moves because of a lack of concentration, which in turn wasted a lot of his strength.
Why do I feel as if there's no other road to take?
He didn't want to, but he had to. All he could do to resist this was to not put his all in training, and because of that, he was tired.
Even so, I have to resist this way. As long as I'm in the Academy City, I can't escape my brother. Unless he lets me go, I've no other choice.
Do you dislike your own brother?
You might have asked a meaningless question. She did say she hated him before, but perhaps dislike and hate were different.
I dislike him. He doesn't care about me at all.
The two girls walking before them had arrived at the shop. They waved back at them.
You're so mean.
Never mind. You look.
Mifi was calm in the face of Mei Shen's reproachful gaze. They moved from the coffee shop that Mei Shen worked at into another nearby shop. In here, senior students were permitted to drink alcohol. Dishes of barbecue skewers and vegetables lay before Layfon and his friends.
Yeah, you're cute. Are you making fun of me because I can't wear it?
Of course not.
Yeah, I know.
Mei Shen's cheeks puffed up at Naruki's flippant tone. When Layfon and the three girls entered the coffee shop earlier, Mei Shen had stood still on her spot, her face turning green. And whether it was fortunate or not, there were no other female waitresses before break time other than Mei Shen. Layfon felt bad for her. She was shaking like a small animal while receiving the order, but Mifi teased her happily.
But Meichi really is cute, is it?
He thought back of her look in the coffee shop. The modest and deep blue uniform in itself wasn't cute at all, but the Mei Shen hiding her face behind the tray was cute. He gave his honest opinion and Mei Shen lowered her head, her cheeks red as of boiled water.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a high-level skill to praise the
Michan, Naki, I'll get mad.
The three girls argued in their own styles. Layfon sighed and turned his gaze to Feli. She was silently eating a skewer of barbecue chicken. Here's another small animal. Frankly, her sober eating expression was also cute. Layfon nibbled at one end of the batter-fried vegetable stems as he listened to the conversation of the three girls.
Let's stop teasing Meichi. The cake over there was delicious.
Right?
It wasn't too sweet. I get why.
Not sure. Seems they'll teach me later. Really, I've always wanted to just stay in the kitchen.
Since you showed them your cute look, of course.
Mi-chan.
Yeah. According to my investigation, no matter which shop it is, it'll prioritize students getting into the kitchen if they've had real cooking experience.
That's insurance. It guarantees the students must have some level of skill.
But it takes at least half a year to get marked.
Woo-woo. Half a year.
Can Meichi tolerate
No problem. I'll steal the recipe.
What an audacious declaration.
Never mind me. What about you two?
Me? I've already
A magazine?
Yeah, though it's mostly doing errands, Naki.
I'm going to join the city police force. There are lots of military arts candidates, so I can't let my guard down.
Oh, if you join the police force, then...
Yes, but you can only carry a baton.
Foo-foo. But aren't you happy? You're really jealous of Layton's sword, Tilda.
Not at all. I just want it because a baton is the pride of a policeman.
You really are.
Layfon was listening to the three. Even here he felt he was very distant from them. Nothing could help him, because he stood on the other side of the glass. He could hear the sound, but he couldn't step inside it. He squinted at the three, unable to enter that cheerful territory. There was no chance to speak. The party ended as the closing hour of dormitories neared. Student dormitories were spread out across the city. After separating from Naruki and the others since their dormitories lay in a different direction, Layfon found himself heading in the same direction as Feli.
Is Senpai going in this direction too?
Yes. What a coincidence.
Layfon nodded. It was that much of a surprise to him.
Senpai didn't enter the conversation back then. I'm sorry for being insensitive.
In the end, he himself passed through that time without speaking. He couldn't speak up as a special atmosphere encircled the conversation that only familiarity would allow.
Not at all. I was happy.
Really? That's good.
It was hard to conclude whether she was truly happy, as her face showed no emotion at all. They alone walked on the path lit by streetlights. Layfon felt awkward about it. The sound of footsteps that was usually small and insignificant drifted into their ears.
Ah, really?
I didn't know what to say, because I haven't had any friends before.
Feli said as she walked past a streetlight. Layfon glanced at her but couldn't make out her expression. Just then, sparks fell from her silvery hair to scatter the dim light. He widened his eyes.
Senpai!
Oh, sorry. I lost control for a little bit.
She pressed down on her long hair with her hand. Green phosphorescence gathered in her hair, emitting a dull light. Unresponsive and without any heat. Only the tiniest bit of vibration in the air that Layfon could feel with his left wrist. This was psychokinesis. It was the external type, burst K, and the internal type K, but at the same time, it was different from both. It was an inborn ability, a type of K flowing in the body that training would never obtain. He watched her closely. Even her eyebrows and eyelashes emitted phosphorescence. Hair was the best conductor for the K of psychokinesis. There were people who conveyed their K to whips made by hair. She lost control of it. That was shocking. Just that and her hair could emit the light of psychokinesis to the tips of each strand of hair. This meant her ability of psychokinesis was inconceivably powerful.
Senpai,